open right now. We play a game. Our topic is hacking, purple teaming. I got Dan and Tim here, and in 1 minute, they're going to come up with as many issues with pen testing, red teaming, blue teaming, purple teaming, as much as you can. Dan, Tim, you ready? Yes?
Yep.
As well.
Okay, here's the countdown.
All right. The only way you prepare for ransomware is by taking backups.
Limited scopes.
Your blue team doesn't know how to conduct red team activities.
Time of day restrictions.
Your red team doesn't know how to conduct blue team activities.
Condensed test schedule.
You can't accurately measure how well your security controls like EDR, firewalls, etc. are working.
Tax limitations.
You don't know how to accurately measure mean time to detection from the start of an attack.
Lack of reporting in the debrief.
The first purple team procedure executed is supposed to get caught, but doesn't.
Limited skill sets.
15 seconds.
During your red team exercise, you find IOCs from APT 29.
Lack of communication.
You rewrite the same pen test report every year.
Oh, we're done. I think Dan's wins on this because he ended the beginning.
I have to go faster. I'm like,
how many did we have, Andrew?
Dan 13, Tim 12.
Dan wins, but that ties for a record of 25, right? Andrew? Andrew, does that tie for...
I miscounted. I am sorry. It's 8 and 7.
Oh, you didn't
like,
tie.
I didn't know how to talk that fast.
Let's start this.
Welcome, everybody. The CISO series video chat is ready to begin.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the CISO series video chat. I am David Spark, your host of the CISO series video chat. Today's topic is hacking purple teaming, and you just heard a bunch of issues with that. We're going to be talking for an hour, critical thinking of how to increase collaboration between red and blue teams. My two guests, who you just saw, are Dan DeClaw, CEO of PlexTrack, and Tim Scanlon, Splunk and security engineer with the U.S. Customs and Border Protection. Our sponsor for today's episode is PlexTrack. Thank you so much. A second time, or maybe even a third time. I can't remember how many times we've done these video chats with PlexTrack, but thank you again for doing this. All right. For those of you who have never participated in one of these before, this is for you. For those of you who come back week after week, go ahead and chat in the chat room. Take a snooze for a minute or two. Let me explain. There are 6 different ways to participate. There is a chat room that you're seeing right now. You could submit bad ideas. We play this game where you come up with as many bad ideas as you possibly can, given our topic. So the topic is purple teaming. So we can sort of talk about pen testing to you. So, purple teaming, pen testing, your worst ideas around that. At 20 minutes past the hour, we're going to submit your best strategy. So you can either say bad idea or good strategy, and then put it so we know what it is, because we'll be voting on both of those. You can join us on video at any time if you'd like. Just type "bring me on," and Andrew, the producer, will try to bring as many of you on as possible. Also, ask a question. I'm sure you've got a lot of questions on this. These two guys are experts on the topic of purple teaming. And you can also vote for your favorite question, especially when we get lots of them coming in. All right, our schedule, the speed round, you just saw that. Your bad ideas and question. Look, bad ideas already coming in. That's good to see. Poll will go live at 20 minutes past the hour. You'll vote for your favorite bad idea. But also at 20 minutes past the hour, we want to know your good ideas as well. The best strategy around purple teaming. And at 30 minutes past the hour, we will play the Department of Yes. And Tim is a little shocked by this game. We'll see how well he plays. Also at 30, just after that, you're going to vote for your favorite questions. Actually, you can vote for your favorite questions at any time. But at 40 minutes past the hour, the 2 bad ideas we choose to play the Department of Yes, we want those people who came up with them to come on camera and defend why their bad idea truly is the worst. Because essentially it's going to be a what's worse game here. All right, we'll have our last question and final advice. And then at the very end, our meetup. If you've never come to our meetup, please come. We always get far less people come to the meetup than actually attend this. And I'm telling you, you're missing the best part of this whole experience. The meetup is a ton of fun. It's just a serendipitous moment to meet up with other security professionals. So we hope to see you there. All right, last thing I want to mention is next Friday, our topic is hacking code, an hour of critical thinking on avoiding self-harming code. Guess what? There's a big rectangle at the bottom of the screen. You can click that at any time during this video chat to register for next week's Friday video chat. It will not take you out of this video chat. That's key. It'll just open up another window. You can register as you're still part of this as well. Here's the other thing, the other enticement. We will have a raffle for all the people who register early by next Tuesday. So if you register now, you're automatically entered into the raffle for a kick-ass, like this, CISO Series jacket. You could have one of those and in the raffle. You could also have one if we pick you as the best bad idea. All right, I got all that out of the way. Let's begin our discussion. I'm going to ask the very obvious question with you, Dan, first. Because we're talking purple teaming, and it is a blend of red and blue teaming. But what is it about red and blue teaming that falls short that we actually need purple teaming, that purple teaming was even created as a concept?
Yeah, so the blue team has historically not been able to detect in real time when they've engaged with a red team, right? And so the whole concept of purple teaming really came about as like being able to collaborate in real time around a red team conducting their attacks and even simulating advanced persistent threats and ransomware, so that the blue team can begin to know exactly what's going on in real time and being able to try and search for those indicators of compromise. And that's really where it spawned from, and that's why it's so valuable, is that you start to learn how the red team is conducting their activities, and it also gives insight for the red team to know how hard the blue team actually has to work, to be able to find some of these things.
Tim, throwing to you, the learning the real time, is there a process where you go from red to blue team, then you go to purple teaming, and then you go back to red blue teaming because now you sort of more educated in real timing, and that your response as a blue team member is more effective? I mean, does that happen?
From time to time, it will. After debriefs, and in some circumstances, you may identify more in the report. One of the common issues that you'll commonly see is where the debrief isn't as detailed. That's where a purple team can kind of come in and help collect that additional information, gather that information, provide it, and help the blue team identify the TTPs that are actually used during the red team exercise. Utilizing those, the blue team can help improve their defenses, and as Dan had mentioned earlier, utilizing TTPs from the different APTs that are out there is something that's highly used at the part of purple team engagements, and with that, it allows you to really test what's occurring out in the wild. So that's something that actually helps out quite a bit also.
Were you in a space where you were mostly doing red and blue teaming yourself, Tim, and that it was like this moment of discovery of purple teaming? And how did that sort of change your whole view of pen testing in general? And I mean, I'm just projecting that was it. So you give me the story.
Oh, well, definitely. I mean, the red team has to beat the blue team has to beat the red team. I mean, that's something you kind of run into a little bit out there. And in some cases, when if you hire external entities to conduct tests, they hide their secrets. They don't give you as much detail. That goes back to that debrief. Having your own internal red team, blue team, and getting them to collaborate and work together is the major gap in many enterprises that are out there. And that's something that we personally have actually done everything we can to bridge.
Okay. Got a question here from Matthew Bybee, who's the CISO over at SATCOM Direct, and he asked this question. How can you transition from a reoccurring pen testing engagement into a red, purple, blue team with limited resources? Or said another way, and actually I think the way he says it, the second time he says, what are some tangible steps to get you there from traditional pen testing? So how, I'm sensing the classic, the compliance required once a year pen test to the let's move to the thing that actually helps us be secure. Dan.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that the ability to take it in small steps, right? To not be overwhelmed with, oh, I don't have these skills, or we don't have this skill set in house, or we don't have the time, is really kind of the wrong mentality. Is to start thinking in a more proactive approach, like how do we schedule time to maybe select, maybe just a handful of TTPs that we'll go and test, right? And there's a wealth of resources out there that are free right now, which is great. The MITRE ATT&CK is the way to go. It's becoming the nomenclature in the industry, and just the right way to conduct and be able to have information and intelligence on these activities. So just take a handful of those and then schedule some time, execute the tests, and then see how you did, and see where the gaps are, and take it in baby steps. I think there's this maturity misconception where people don't start these exercises soon enough in their life cycle, and being on the proactive front is gonna pay off much more dividends than being in this mentality of like, we're not ready yet.
Okay. What about you, Tim? Do you get any kind of pushback in terms of conducting, I guess, the volume of testing that you need to do? Because I would think in your work and anything that's government based, like testing is like chronically required. Yes.
Yes, and of course there's always pushback. I mean,
and where does the pushback come from? Like, is it just cost issues and time? I mean, the classics.
It can be a number of things. In some cases, it can be just simply with regards to mission critical systems, making sure that they stay online. The concern of a test of this nature and the impact it could potentially have, and the scope of the testing is one of the major items where we sometimes will go from a large scope to a smaller scope because the mission comes first, and to make sure that we maintain operations at all times. And
hold on, Tim, I'm going to give you one tip. Keep your chairs still. You're rocking a little too much.
Oh, sorry about that.
It's all right. Go ahead, keep going.
But for the most part, that's where a lot of our pushback comes from, is things of that nature, just where we have to shrink the scope. And then in addition to that, of course, funding and things of that nature, resources is always something that every team needs. You can never have too many people, especially too many good people.
So here, let's get to the pros and cons of pen testing in real time. Like, and I maybe I'll say the cons in the sense that I don't want to say pros and cons, like more do's and don'ts. Let's say it more like that. Like, where do people screw up with purple teaming? And it could just be sort of being green and not knowing what to do. What are some sort of missteps you've seen with people doing it early on, Dan?
I think it's widening the scope too much, right? And thinking that, oh, this is a full scoped red team engagement or a fully scoped pen test, rather than a distinct assessment of a specific set of tactics and techniques, right? And I think that's
give us
one of
a
the
very specific example if you can.
Yeah, so like if we were to conversely say like, hey, a red team engagement is a black box type of engagement where I'm gonna go do some research and gather intelligence on the target, and then execute and get in and do lateral movement and prove escalation and all those things, and then at the end provide my report. That's a full red team engagement. That's not what purple team is geared towards. It's not meant to say, hey, we're gonna do that in a collaborative real time exercise. That's a different type of engagement. A purple team exercise really is geared towards, hey, we think we might have gaps in detecting lateral movement, and we want to see how our EDR or a firewall can detect, if it will detect these activities, and we'll base it off of an adversarial technique and tactic like APT29 or Fin6, ransomware, those kinds of things. So starting small in the scope is really important, so that you actually start to be able to make measurable progress on the defensive side of like, okay, the EDR didn't detect it this time. What do we need to go configure? Retest that activity really quickly, and then you're making demonstrable progress, as opposed to waiting 3 to 6 months for a full scope red team engagement to come through, and then have a mountain of things to go try and prioritize.
Tim, when you first started purple teaming, did you make mistakes like that, widen scope, things like that, or were some other newbie mistakes you made?
Um, I would say for the most part, we didn't really experience that too much. We definitely started small. That was definitely important. We have gotten more focus driven as we've gone along, and that's one of the major things is not just attacking everything, applying a purpose and a focus to what you're trying to attack. And
let me pause that for a second. Give me a clear example of a purple team exercise and what you learned from the real time experience. Just give me any example, Tim.
Okay. So for example, well, I just drew a complete
Okay,
blank.
I'll pause with you, Dan. You give me a good example.
Yeah. So basically, when I was a security director, we, started, actually treating it like a program, right? Like, hey, we're gonna map out. These are the things that we really want to focus on throughout the year, and starting to schedule those into our daily operations, so that we knew we weren't casting the net too wide. We were very specific and focused on the things that we were testing, and then being able to measure our progress. So I think one of the other common mistakes is gearing up for this purple team exercise and then no follow on, no programmatic approach to it, and being disciplined about, no, this is important. This is one of those mission critical things that really helps move the needle forward on our security posture.
Got a good question here from Amanda Kegley of The Industrious, and she asks, how does security and testing validation and the measure fit in with purple teaming? Tim, can you answer that one?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question again?
Essentially, she wants to know, how does testing and measurement fit with purple teaming? Does it work together, if you will?
Oh, without a doubt.
So give me an example. How do you do that?
So measuring, so essentially, you can track your you can track your red team exercises, and as a part of that, you can collect metrics based on, the number of detections, what was detected, and also identify your gaps, identify, where those gaps are, and then cross-referencing those back to MITRE ATT&CK framework can identify exactly where within the MITRE ATT&CK framework you are lacking, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Dan, just so people are clear, so they know what your company PlexTrack does, mm-hmm. You don't carry out purple teaming exercises. Not what your company does. How do you play in the purple team sort of milieu, if you will?
Yeah, exactly. Well, we help in that programmatic approach, and putting in run books where you can define here are the tactics and techniques that we're going to test on a periodic basis, and so you can go in and document all of your findings from the red team side, immediately being able to capture all that evidence from the blue team side. So both teams collaborate in the platform, being able to share their artifacts, and then also measure. Like, yep, the red team it successfully executed these techniques against a set of assets. The blue team was only able to detect, on 4 of them. And so then you have those analytics that now you can start to show your trends over time. And so we really fit in that, making it a programmatic approach, being disciplined on having a continuous assessment and a paradigm shift towards that more proactive mindset.
So it's a tool to be using when you're purple teaming, and I don't even know actually, but does your tool actually also fit in with, can you actually ticket things from your tool as well?
Yeah, exactly. So you can facilitate the entire workflow, right? So once you automate the reporting, which is a big piece of, I think Tim mentioned it, like way too much time spent on reporting. So we automate that reporting process, and then immediately can create Jira tickets or ServiceNow tickets to be able to, or even use it as its own tracking system internally to be able to start showing who's working on these, who's fixing them, and how long have they been out there. So you really start to get better trending too, as to like how quickly are we fixing items that get reported, how long are certain critical items being left open, and really provide deeper insights onto the growth of your posture from a security perspective.
By the way, more bad ideas are coming in, and get them in quickly, because in just about a minute, our poll is going to go up. And also, if you've not registered for next Friday's video chat. Go ahead and do that now. Just click on the button at the bottom of the screen. Again, anyone who registers now is automatically entered in the raffle for the jacket. And by the way, the this week's winner not only got a jacket, but got a whole mess of Plex Track swag as well. Or they haven't, from us, they haven't received yet, because I'm actually going with a new supplier now, which I'm getting samples today. So a whole slew of stuff is going to be going out soon. But go ahead and register for next Friday's video chat, and we will the poll is up now. Go ahead and vote for your favorite bad ideas. We have more questions who have just come in. Here's a good question, and maybe you've dealt with this, Tim, from Amal Nike. I believe it's how to pronounce the last name. Let me know if I got that right. I got both names correctly. Who knows? Amal will know. How one should handle use of 0 days in purple teaming, or is it even allowed? Do you even have 0 days to mess with in purple teaming, Tim?
Yes, you will. I mean, there's in some cases, you will run into situations where during the red team portion of the exercise that you have to burn a 0 day. That's just going to be your way in. And 0 days are going to be a situation where you may not have detected that initial attack, that initial exploit, or you may have the logs but may not have alerted on it. However, what was done next? So it's did you catch that lateral movement? Did you see additional network traffic that's unusual for X system, things of that nature.
By the way, Brandon has a bad idea. Purple teaming reports must be written out in Prince lyrics. Dan, actually, I think this is a damn good idea that you should actually incorporate it.
Yeah. I think we can
I don't see there's anything bad with that at all.
Dan, can you automate that one?
Yeah, exactly. We'll pad that IP. Yeah,
easily automate that. What a great idea that is. Switch it over to the good ideas. Brandon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I'll carry on to that thought,
yes,
because I think it's interesting about everyone is enamored with 0 days, but at the end of the day, that's just like another technique that's going to get used maybe in the first initial vector into the environment, or an activity where they're already in and trying to get deeper and they just don't have a way. So I think it's absolutely on the table, and it helps the blue team identify where their gaps are from detecting the next steps, right? The lateral movement, the privilege escalation. If they've already done a good job of protecting against the standard techniques, does somebody have to burn an O day to get further? That's definitely something you want to be able to document and measure. So now, whether the red team wants to go that far, sometimes they like to hold those close to for the right scenarios, right?
Yeah, so, I know. I don't know how many of those they're going to be able to bleed the 0 days. By the way, I had mentioned we are now taking good ideas, so please, good ideas as well. We'll have a poll of that after our game, which will be in exactly 8 minutes as well. Let's go back to our questions. Let's see what we've got. Well, this one I don't fully understand, so we'll go back to mine. Let's talk about ransomware, because I don't know if you noticed, it's been in the news lately. I'll clue you in on a few stories, but how are actually ransomware simulations being handled in purple team exercises? I'll start with you, Dan.
Yeah, so I mean, and this is an exactly perfect use case for purple team exercises, because, like I mentioned before, the only way a bad idea is the only way you're preparing for ransomware is just taking backups, right? So, using a ransomware simulation like Fin6 or Maze or Ryuk, these all have run books now that you can simulate, right? You can pull them down from MITRE, and Scythe has an open library of run books and even you can pull those into PlexTrack, and you can execute them against a standalone system or in a lab environment and be able to simulate those techniques to actually be able to see how your systems will prevent or detect ransomware being executed in real time. And that's really important. In terms of being able to report that to your leadership, that's going to be the question everyone's getting this year. For those of us that have been around, ransomware has been around for a long time, right? So, but it's getting so much more notoriety, and especially hitting such critical infrastructure that, you want to be able to have more details around how are you able to defend and detect ransomware. And the best way to do that is to simulate it.
The interesting thing came from Craig Herter. Good idea. Have the purple team earn their revenue from the compromises they both take advantage of and stop. Have either of you ever seen bonuses in any kind of purple team exercise, or even heck, red and blue team exercise, with either side like successfully breaking in or successfully stopping? Like, has that ever kind of played itself out? Have either of you ever seen that?
Unfortunately for us specifically, no.
No, you have. Because I've never heard of it. Have you, Dan?
Yeah, the only and I would vote against it. I mean, I would press against it. The whole goal of purple teaming is to be in a collaborative environment where you're helping each other out. You're all in the same goal, same mission. In my earlier days in pen testing, I'd seen statements of work where customers were, they'd plant flags, targets, and goals, throughout the environment. And so if the pen test team was able to get that far and extract the flag, they kind of gamified it. So they would get, more, the customer would pay the pen test consulting for more. That's not something that I've heard very often, though.
Hey, I want to go to the ransomware question with you, though, Tim. Have you done specific ransomware exercises in your purple team environment? And if so, how have they played out and what have you learned from it?
At this point in time, we haven't done any specific ransomware testing precisely. We do have lab environments where we can execute ransomware, identify that our defenses are acting against it, are alerting on it, things of that nature. That's something that we definitely do to make sure that our HIS and is actually detecting it, and to make sure that we're actually alerting on those things. But as a part of a purple team engagement, that's not something we're doing.
Well, then let me switch this over though to detection. Then, how has detection been improved through purple teaming exercises? What have you done, Tim?
So it's a collaborative effort. So one of the big bases with purple teaming is going back to that collaborative effort. As the two teams collaborate and they mapping those TTPs back to the MITRE attack framework and improving your defenses throughout your enterprise. That's one part of it. But the other big thing about it is that it also continues to allow your red team to evolve, and also allows your blue team to evolve. They're not going to go in and continue to use the same mechanism that they've previously used. And commonly, one of the things you run into a lot is where things don't get fixed, or because no one followed up, things of that nature, or things aren't detected because XY didn't do this. That collaborative effort helps close that gap to make sure that things are getting fixed, they are getting remediated, and making sure that your teams are evolving. So the next time they're going to try something different. And also, in addition to that, changing the scope, changing the methodology as you go along, to include different APTs, especially as we're aware of the supply chain hacks and things of that nature, have created quite an issue for us over this past year. So things of that nature, and learning from those. SolarWinds was a great example of patience for sure, but also just highly skilled attacks that went undetected, and learning from that, taking that back and evolving is a major piece of that.
Dan, detection through purple teaming. Give me into little details into the sort of the process, and also maybe you can talk about how you improve situations within PlexTrack to improve the detection process as well through purple teaming.
Yeah. So, I mean, so our platform definitely supports the ability to have the blue team document whether these items were detected, they were blocked, or there was no evidence at all coinciding with the red team activity or the tactic, the technique that was executed. So that provides a central place for documenting and measuring it, which is really what, our goal is to help people show their improvement and progress. And so, so what we see, customers doing is being able able to upload the evidence right there. So the red team can also see like, okay, it picked, they might be able to also hone their skills too, right? So like, okay, the blue team picked this up, well, because I ran the wrong command, like, or I kind of added this command line flag, and that's what triggered it. So it really, this purple teaming exercise is really, helps both sides of the sword be sharpened, right? And, but from the detection side, it really helps identify, hey, when we ran it this time, it was not detected. The next time we ran it, it was detected but not blocked. The final time we did some tweaking, we could document what we did, and then it was blocked. And so that's kind of the progression that you want to be able to show.
All right. We got a phone call just came in.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, welcome to the Department of Yes, where no request is ever rejected.
All right. We are now playing the Department of Yes. And what that means is I'm going to read two really bad ideas. I'm going to just tell you this first one is, I'm going to say I think it's our only morbid one that we've had. So setting you up for that. I want whoever came up with these bad ideas to speak up. Let us know, because we're going to want you on camera at 40 minutes past the hour. All right. Here we go. Dan, I'm going to have you answer first to this one. And I'm warning you, it's a little morbid.
Okay.
Second one isn't.
Now I'm nervous.
Yeah, go. Here we go. Have the red team and blue team sacrifice a team member every time the purple team beats them. Why do you want to do this?
Well, I think that it truly sends motivation to everyone else to make sure that they're honing their skills, because otherwise there's dire consequences.
There are dire consequences.
The morale will improve, when the executions stop.
That is a good point, and I will say, paying attention will be quite heightened. Tim, why do you want to do this?
I think really identifying your weakest link and replacing that weakest link is going to do nothing but improve for your enterprise.
I don't know if there's going to be many replacements made. I think the team's just going to shrink in size in general.
We talked about like a talent shortage already, right?
Yeah. All right. So hold on. Okay. So anyway, congrats on that answer as well. By the way, somebody was asking, I see in the back channel, you're watching someone's watching the live broadcast, possibly on LinkedIn right now. If you want to join the chat, the link is at the very, very top in LinkedIn. Go ahead and click on that, and you'll be brought over to Crowdcast as well to also register for next week's video chat as well. By the way, anytime, you can always go to CISOseries.com and click the register for video chats button, and we'll show you what all the upcoming video chats are as well. All right. Good job on that first one. This next one, I don't think anyone's going to die on this next one, but they may die of embarrassment. I think that's what's going to happen on this next one. Get ready. I'm going to have Tim, you're going to answer this one first. All members of the purple team must dress as Barney, the purple dinosaur, during report presentation. How's that going to go over at U.S. Customs and Border Protection?
Oh, it's going to be a great icebreaker. As soon as everybody shows up, it's going to set the mood, set the tone. Of course, we all know when we deliver bad news saying we got into your network, no one's happy. So having
you soften the blow as a purple dinosaur, don't you?
Exactly.
Oh, yeah! For those who've had children, some of those Barney tunes are going through your head. One in particular, the cleanup song. Clean up, everyone clean up. All right. Dan, why are we going to do this? Everyone's going to dress up as a purple dinosaur. Your entire staff is required to do this.
I think it builds team unity, right? I mean, it's all about collaboration with red and blue. So red and blue make purple. Everyone should be wearing a purple. And what could be more loving and collaborative and unifying than Barney?
Bravo! I agree. Gentlemen, you did very well. I didn't look in the screen. Who gave us these two bad ideas? Let me know in the back channel, Andrew. Larry and Craig. Oh my God! By the way, past bad ideas. They're going to come back. Okay, both of you be ready in 7 minutes to come on as well. We're going to go to our questions right now. We have a question. Let me just see this. Craig's the first, Larry's the second. All right. This comes from Yodi. Yodi's got this question. Quote, can you give a high-level review of the APT testing, so Advanced Persistent Threat Testing? I heard a number of APT attacks I heard a numbered APT attack. Is there a reference for these attack types? Thanks for the great info. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This doesn't come from Yodi is copying Roger Swanson's question. So, Yodi, thank you for doing this. So this is Roger Swanson's question. All right. Tim, can you answer this question?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and take a stab at it.
Okay.
So the MITRE ATT&CK framework is a very, very good reference for APT testing. And with the highlight of ransomware right now, as a part of MITRE ATT&CK Impact, the data encrypted for impact, they have literally every procedure that is used for the various APTs. So that's a very, very great reference to utilize. And utilizing those procedures, you can identify methods to kind of scope your testing, and will allow you to reenact those real time to actually identify if your defenses are matching up against those attacks.
Okay. What about you? You got an answer for? Well, it's actually Roger, not you.
Yeah. No, great question. Yeah. So, MITRE ATT&CK has the largest open database of all the different tactics and techniques. So the APT 1 through 29 or whatever, however many they are, and all the different types of ransomware. So they document those techniques. They have all that background information where you can really learn. But then they also have the Center for Ingenuity, which has actual playbooks that you can download, and you can import those into whatever automation tool that you want, or even just a way to measure those, so that you have all the tactics and techniques. You don't have to go just on the website. You can learn on the website, but actually pull those down. Scythe also has a good repository of tactics and techniques that you can pull in based on the various threat actors as well.
Roger was over on LinkedIn trying to figure out where that little button at the bottom of the screen is. Roger, do you see it now? There it is. It's right there to register for next Friday's video chat. That's what you could do right there. All right, hang tight. We're going to be bringing in Craig and Larry in just about 4 minutes. But let's go to another question from Matthew Bybee. How do you sell the value proposition to other departments internally? I'm going to, because you were dealing with this debate, Tim, I'm going to throw this one to you. So IT, NetOps, TechOps, et cetera, for red, blue, purple teaming. In most organizations, not all departments are willing to be active participants. How do you get everybody on board, Tim?
So a lot of that is, working through management is definitely one way. But more or less.
But pause on that for just a second. That is... Because I read this whole book about red teaming. If you don't have upper management on board, nothing's going to happen, right?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Tell me the lowdown. How much can this happen from the ground up? Doesn't it have to have or you tell me? I don't know.
So of course, there's always policy that comes into play.
Right.
Policy is policy, but. And from our perspective, what we always try to do is we always have pre-briefs for every engagement and a kickoff meeting, better said. And essentially, that's our time to explain the test, explain what we're going to do, explain the benefits, the reasons why it's good to do, this exercise. And as a part of those, we actively invite all engineers that are the engineers that are managing this equipment, managing your routers, your switches, your servers, and all of the devices, which of course, they're the ones that are worried most, because they're the ones that have to fix it or getting a call in the middle of the night if something happens. Working that it goes back to just a giant collaborative effort, and working with those different teams is a critical piece, but explaining it and just emphasizing, the importance of it, it normally helps persuade those to be on board. And it kind of gives a good start to the entire engagement, and allows you throughout the engagement to be able to just kind of flow through without, too many issues.
Dan, let me ask you a question that I'm assuming any customer who comes to you is pretty much already on board. Like, hey, we got the funding, we're doing purple team, going there. But do you ever have a situation where, I need some help convincing over here, and you kind of step in and help out, or provide the here's the playbook kind of a thing? What have you seen?
Yeah, so I think when you can actually show direct impact is when you are going to start to get investment, right? Because everybody wants to try and show that return on the investment, and so when you can show that hey, we definitely found like these critical risks, right? So highlighting like what are some small tests that you can make and show immediate value to continue to promote the program forward, both from the purple teaming and like the red teaming side. The blue team can definitely conduct some of these activities and begin to learn on their own as part of just their security operations. And so really selling the proactive nature of we're trying to get out ahead of these things so that we're not having to play, the response category, capability and all the time. Right. So.
All right. We have Larry Rosen's come in and Craig Herter, I believe, is coming in as well. Ah, perfect timing. Everyone's doing an awesome job coming in. All right. So Craig, you are wearing that sharp jacket. Good job. By the way, an enormous apologies to Larry Rosen. He was owed a jacket. He's still getting one, but they sent us a woman's medium. And if you look at Larry, he is not currently a woman's medium. So he will be receiving one. We are changing suppliers yet again, but it will be coming soon enough. All right. Craig started with the Hunger Games answer to purple teaming. And Larry had and he's dressed in purple too. Look at this. He's so ready for this.
I
can't even believe I have red. I have a purple light. Why didn't I even think of putting a damn purple light behind me? I'm an idiot. Jeez. Whatever. All right. So the two of you have to argue why your idea is the worst. Already I'm thinking morbidity, so you're going to have a lot to go with the dinosaur, Larry. But we'll start with you, Craig. Craig, make your argument. Why is your idea the worst?
May the odds be ever in your favor. But seriously, it's motivation, right? Because to the points that were made, there is cooperation between the two teams, but that cooperation shouldn't be in the realm of not being able to exploit or not being able to block. There's still the active incentive of get business done. And if the red team gets blocked, well, the purple team wins and the red team member gets.
I think Craig, I think you're bearing the lead here. Murder is illegal.
I didn't say we murder them. I just said we pitch them.
I saw execute.
We're not kicking them off the island.
Define execute.
Execute. All right, Larry, who's dressed up as a dinosaur right now.
Well, you never know.
What's your argument? Is yours is worse? I'm telling you, you got a pretty steep ladder to climb on this one.
So physical pen testing in particular really requires that anonymity, especially if you're ever going to go back into the same company again. So you need to make sure that you are, in some way covering up who you actually are. I mean,
now you're arguing it's a good idea.
Well,
which, by the way, this is the Department of Yes you're playing, which you're doing a great job, but I need to know why it's the worst idea.
Well, I mean, Craig argued about tossing people over their shoulder and pitching them too, but I just think I do think it's a good idea because I think you at the delivery meeting and you're delivering potential bad news. I've set this up for a week, David. There'd be nothing better at that delivery meeting than be able to go in there and say, "I love you, you love me. We're a happy family," with a great big hug and a kiss from me to you. Won't you say you love me too?
He even looked up the lyrics for Barney.
And I got them written down on a post-it note on my screen.
It's going to be stuck in my head.
There you go. All right. I throw this to you, Tim and Dan.
If you have a child of a certain age, you get that one.
We've heard I have played that Barney music to get them to clean the house, believe it or not. All right, Dan, Tim, which is the absolute worst idea here? And if you want to do Craig's version where people are not dying, you could do that version too as well. We can adapt it because I'm going to say death kind of always wins out from just basic embarrassment in a dinosaur suit. Dan, which one's worst?
I still think Craig's is worse. even negative motivation in our space only leads to mental health issues.
There you go. Yeah. And Tim?
I'm definitely going Craig. That's a huge HR complaint.
That is a huge HR complaint. Yeah. Actually, that's a good point because this, Larry's idea could actually be a giant sort of, spirit team thing where you're a motivator as well.
When everybody passes out from heat exhaustion from the Barney scene.
That could happen as well. So it is a possibility there, but very slight. Risk is low, and we always are working on risk. Craig, Larry, as always, we greatly appreciate your support and your incredibly bad ideas as well. And your good ideas, believe it or not. My ears. What is it, John? I don't know what he's referencing here.
Probably like trying not to hear the song because we all get it stuck in our
yes,
heads.
By the way, geez, I should, if I had the time, if you can, Andrew, just load up a Barney song to play a clip as we get out of this. All right, we have how much time? We had 16 minutes left here. We have questions still coming in. All right, I haven't read this. We're just going straight here. I'm gonna mess up your first name, Liao. Liaw, Liao Yitsun, asks this question. As a service provider, how do you assure the end user that the information of vulnerabilities found are safe? How do you protect your service provider company in case the end user is breached right after a purple team exercise? Oh, can that even be done, Dan? Yes? No?
Well, so I mean, you always want to make sure you're protecting the information that comes in the final report. So you want to have good security controls around where that information is being saved, how it's being tracked, and who knows about it. You always operate in a principle of least privilege. So you have to actually have some of that security controls in house of what is actually being tested as well. So. As a service provider, you need to be able to show that. Consulting firms often will talk about how they protect the information using encryption at rest, and some of those standard activities around who has access to the report and limiting the information being shared with the only the people that are authorized to see it. So fairly standard controls around just general data protection is how service providers that we see assure their customers of the protection of that data.
All right. Tim, any answer from you on this issue?
Dan hit the nail on the head with that one. So, but one thing I can add, of course, only keeping what's needed. So, after you've developed your report, you have the supporting information in that report. And, like Dan mentioned, safely storing that information is critical. And then, of course, from there, once you've confirmed that you have everything in the report and everything that's needed, removing those additional information that you no longer need. That's a critical piece.
By the way, the best strategy poll has gone up, and somehow I think a bad idea snuck its way in there. But go ahead and vote for your favorite good strategies as well. Please put your votes in for that as well. And we just got a few minutes left on this as well. Let me go back to my questions. I think this is what your platform does, Dan. So I'm going to go to you first on this, and then I'm eager to know how you've done this yourself, Tim. But how are you actually showing that, hey, we did the purple teaming and the security posture is actually improving since we actually did the purple teaming? Dan, I got to assume that your platform sort of shows this.
Yeah, metrics and analytics are vital to being able to show that return on investment. Right?
And so what exactly are you showing? Give me the details here.
Yeah, so we're showing, how over time, how many exercises that you've executed and how many tactics and techniques that you've conducted, how often the red team outcomes are successful or not, compared with how often the blue team outcomes are successful or not. So you're actually being able to measure both sides just in terms of their progress, but then you have that trend. So ideally, you want to see the graphs moving where the blue team is continuing to detect and prevent more and more. So that's one metric that is really important on the purple team side. And then once those items have been reported, so you see the trend where we had maybe 20 issues that were reported as actual risks and findings that we need to go button up. Then you can also measure how long it's taking to get those items resolved, right? So it's a full scope trend, and that's what we provide.
And then just a quick follow up on that is, Dan, think of like a poster child customer that you have that has handled using your product really well, and they iterated on it really often, and they have this very nice sort of trend line where the metrics keep improving it again and again. What is it that they're doing that's so good, and what have you learned from them that maybe you've incorporated into your tool?
Yeah, so I mean, I think that going from doing more manual activities and keeping that scope small, they continue to get better. Then they can go automate more things, and they really have been able to show these are where our true gaps are, because until you have a way to measure it, you think that the firewall might be doing what it's supposed to be doing, or you think the EDR might be doing what it's doing. But so several of our customers are starting in that small scope and then being able to continue to expand the scope, automate more items, and show improved and increased value quickly for the blue team side, which ultimately leads to the directors or the CISOs being able to say, like, okay, it's clear that based on our exercises, our EDR is doing really well, but we need to now go invest in this XYZ thing to help prevent these deeper types of attacks or exfiltration detection and those kinds of things.
Tim, same to you. So how are you going about showing your improvement of your overall security program with purple teaming?
Well, in addition to the same thing, tracking what techniques were detected, identifying which ones were successful, all of those are definitely things that we track. In addition to that, doing follow-on engagements, tracking remediation and validating the remediation, but also doing a follow-on engagement that to actually fully go through the testing and identify if there's anything that was potentially missed, and identify if there's still any additional gaps.
And here, one of the good ideas, the good strategies that came in was, and please pipe up if this is yours, was don't treat the blue team as a stepping stone to get into offensive security in your organization. Keep top talent on both sides. So two questions on this is, A, does that happen? And B, well, not question, but that's my first question. But B, I mean, I've heard from other security professionals that, heck, the most fun part of cybersecurity is red teaming. It just is, So to keep people away, like, should you be rotating people red to blue back and forth, or is it like now you stay in your pool, like you're playing the offensive line and you're never leaving, or vice versa? Tim, what do you see? Do people rotate, or are they going, I'm done with this, I'm moving over there? How does it work?
Of course, we have guys that want to change the pace, that want to change. So, and from time to time, there will be situations that some go from blue team to red team. That's just the name of the game. Sometimes you just need to change. In addition to that, your best red team member can be your best blue team member, and
I would assume so.
Yeah,
I mean,
and vice
learning
versa.
from both sides is critical. I mean, hence why we've got purple teaming we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. And that goes back to just a collaborative effort. I mean, we try to cross train as much as possible in very many different areas, not just red, blue, and so on, but just in general, we try to cross train as much as possible. So just to help make sure that we have individuals with multiple understandings, and that can help support both sides.
By the way, I want to quote Larry Rhodes in here, who is yes-anded Craig Hurst's bad idea. He said, how about executing the CEO if the red team is successful? And this would ensure proper funding of the blue team. Man, that's a great, you see, great minds
now we know how
together.
to get motivation. Yeah.
There you go. So same question to you, Dan, about going back and forth. And just one quick thing. People, please click that darn button at the bottom of the screen, because if you haven't, to register for next week's video chat about hacking code, which is going to be a fun conversation. It's going to be a lot about sort of the shifting left methodology that we talk about. But that's going to change in just a few minutes. So this is your last chance to easily click a link. I mean, you can always register, but you'll automatically register for the to the raffle. I'm sorry. So do you see this happening where people want to just leave blue teaming, or is it like, again, the whole thing with purple teaming, like people get to rotate back and forth, or what do you say?
Yeah, so I mean, I think what we're seeing is that a lot of blue team members, they definitely are an appeal to the red team activities, but some of your best blue teamers, they really deeply understand those tactics and techniques, and then it's like a big puzzle of how do I stop that from happening while still being able to support the business rules and conduct normal business on our environment. So I definitely encourage more of a rotation, like being able to learn both sides, because red teamers don't necessarily always know what complexities the blue team has to deal with, right? Sometimes it's just, oh, well, you should just go patch this. Well, there's might be a lot of complexities around patching that system, right? So the red team being able to understand some of the pains that the blue team has to live with really help everybody move the needle forward, and it helps establish deeper scope of, when you have deeper knowledge of the environment, you can cater your test to be more specific, and so that's good from a purple team perspective because it helps you go deep.
All right. I want a quick answer to this because I need to wrap up the show, but quickly in 30 seconds, give me an example, Tim. This comes from Nathan Belk. Do you have an example of a small scope purple teaming exercise? Give me an example of that.
I'm going to pass on that one for right now.
All right, no worries. Dan, give me a small scope, and then we'll wrap it up, and I'll come right back to you. And I'm going to want your summary. Give me an idea of a small scope purple team.
I think picking like, hey, we want to test a technique out of the lateral movement tactic within MITRE ATT&CK. That's a small scope, very specific, maybe on a Windows machine, and just go test that.
Okay, there you go. That's a good answer. All right, let me. I want both of you to think about your final thoughts and advice for the crowd because we're going to wrap this up now. Andrew, you can go ahead and change the link at the bottom of the screen. I just want to do just a couple last things I want to mention here as we're wrapping up. And now, everyone, please stick around for our one-on-one chats. As I mentioned, our next week will be hacking code. The link has changed there, so you'll have to go to CISOseries.com, click the register for video chats button if you haven't done that already. But stick around for our meetup. That is the link at the bottom of the screen now. It's changed. It's a new link. If you click that link now, it's open another window, and you can go ahead and register, and we're all going to be in there in just a few minutes, but you can go ahead and click it now. That's totally fine. Again, it will not take you out of this video chat. Tell all your friends to join us. This, I could really use your help because I'm always sort of pushing people to come to the video chat, and then we get a nice, wonderful crowd. It's great. But you know what? You all have some friends. So tell them to join our video chat. Just go to CISOseries.com, click the register for video chats button. You can just share that link with them. It'll show all the events that are coming up as well. And a huge thanks to our sponsor, Plextrack. Thank you, Dan, and your company for sponsoring this very video chat as well. If you would like to sponsor a video chat, guess what? Just email me, david@CISOseries.com. We've got openings in late August already. And I will tell you, we're going to be 2 weeks, we're going to be off. I am moving. And then the week after that is going to be Black Hat. So those 2 weeks are going to be off. So we're going to have our next week's video chat and then no video chats for 2 weeks. But then we'll be back the week after that. So make sure you register for next week's video chat as well. All right, now I'm back to both Dan and Tim. Dan, I'll have you go first. Any last thoughts, any advice you'd like to give everybody? And if you have an offer or a pitch you want to make for Plextrack, let's hear it now.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think the advice I would give in purple teaming is don't be intimidated by, the lack of potential, skill set or talent or time that you feel like you may not have in order to get started. Because it is, I think you will see as you get started, it starts to become into a rhythm and flow, and you actually do make demonstrable progress, much better than the annual pen test that now you've dumped a bunch of findings on people, and that is not as motivating to go remediate because you have a large amount of things to prioritize. From a Plextrack perspective, hey, we're going to be at Black Hat, so definitely come check us out. You can come hang out, and we'll gladly give you a break and a refreshment. And then from the Plextrack side, if you hit us up, we're offering a 15% discount on our services, our platform. So definitely hit us up on the website.
That is plextrack.com, so check them out. Tim, any last advice? And by the way, are you hiring over at the U.S. Borders Control?
Oh, our country always needs your help. So
okay,
definitely, definitely. Our country always.
Any last thoughts? We got just a couple minutes left. Go ahead.
Definitely. Main thing is definitely just start small. Start small. Apply a focus initially. Find what you think is your weakest point, and start with that.
All right, excellent. Well, I want to thank both Tim Scanlon, who is with U.S. Customs and Border Protection, or U.S. Customs and Border Protection Control, correct? I got that right? And also Dan DeClaus, who's the CEO over PlexTrack. Thank you. We're going to just end, I guess, about a minute and a half early, which is totally fine. So everyone, click the link at the bottom of the screen. Do that now. I will meet you over there. It'll take me again, I need to move some lights around, but I'll see you over there, and then we'll start our meetup. It's fun. If you've never done it, here's what I'm going to quickly explain. 5 meetings with another cybersecurity professional, completely random. It's just for 5 minutes. You have it, you meet someone, and I'll tell you, many people from these meetings have told me that they've either, from these initial meetings have gone on to hiring or doing business with. So it's just a great way to network with other cybersecurity professionals. We will all be there. We hope to see you there too. Thank you both. And also thank you to Andrew, the producer,